So I thought that I should use that sensitivity in that area where it can give maximum output. And that area, of course, is education. So, imparting skills is one of the most important, principle of Jesus Sacred Heart School. That maybe the child learns, 5 chapters out of 10, but what is the most important is that all those 5 chapters also should be able to inculcate some skill in the children. Hands-on experiences should be a part of the curriculum of education in every school, college, university, everywhere. It should be a part of it.
Hello and welcome to Great Principles. I am Seema Chhoriya. Going above and beyond the modes and models of traditional education, our guest for today, Ms. Kirti Sharma, principal of Jesus Sacred Heart School in Ludhiana, has added an additional program for her students, Life Skill. She says is something that all kids must imbibe, and thus a life skills program has become an integral part of school curriculum. Her entry into education sector was preceded by a corporate job. An MBA in economics, Ms. Kirti Sharma may not be very old in the field, but has already left a lasting impact on the thousands of children who have studied with her. The Life Skills program, a detailed sports curricular program, and many other innovations at her school has won her several accolades. She is the recipient of the Most Innovative Principal by the Lions Club, Superwoman 2020 by Forever Asia Awards, Most Active Principal by National and International Olympiad, among others. She continues to remain a student and is currently pursuing a leadership course at Cornell University and is also a resource person training teachers in modern education. It's our honor and great privilege to welcome Ms. Kirti Sharma, Principal, Jesus Sacred Heart School, Ludhiana. Welcome to Great Principal, ma'am. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much, Seema. I'm also honored to be here on your platform, and I think it's a really great platform to spotlight the principals and to share some part of their lives with others, so that our lives can. I wish that our lives can be source of inspiration for others too. Thank you so much, Seema. Thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words and giving the insights on what our platform does. So, ma'am, we would begin by knowing you completed your education as a MBA in economics and MA in economics, sorry. So, yeah. What made you leave the corporate sector, the skyscrapers, buildings, and join the education sector?
In fact, I start my story right from my childhood. And I normally share my story with my children and with my teachers as well, so that, this story can help the children to understand that they need to choose right things at right times. And I think I chose wrong things those times, and which was not very close to my heart. I am a daughter of a doctor and a family of doctors, right? So, and therefore, the very first instance, it was thought, being the eldest one in the family, that I will go towards the medical. So I was, a merit holder in my 10th grade, one of the class toppers in my school. And so therefore, I very easily got pushed into medical line. And then, when, in class 2, even after preparing for PMT exams and all those entrance exams, I realized that science is not my cup of tea. And I ultimately left sciences, and then I, picked up arts for myself. Again, there was a lot of, a thought process that shall I select arts subjects, right? Because it was thought that the intelligent students will automatically go towards either sciences or commerces. I normally tell this to my children, that I was not a successful person. I was not a successful student when I picked up sciences, and commerces were not a cup of my tea. So in arts education, then I picked up economics and found that my economics was my, cup of tea. Again, a merit holder in economics. Then slowly, when we started doing the jobs, when we started finding out a career for ourselves, I naturally got inclined towards corporate because I was offered a very good, job, lucrative salaries also at that time. I was a branch manager of one of the institute, and slowly and slowly realized that the all that glamour which corporate world shows is not actually a glamour, right? I being a very honest person and a very sensitive person inside. I'm a very sensitive person inside, and I felt like that I will have all mental health and all physical health issues if I will continue with the corporate world. Moreover, keeping a balance of for a female, keeping a balance with the corporate world and the family life was becoming a bit difficult. In corporate world, I just could see that a sensitive person like me will not be able to survive. Fine. So I thought that I should use my that sensitivity in that area where it can give maximum output. And that area, of course, is education. I was able to balance the lives. And once I stepped in the education world, I really felt that this was my world. I felt like that I had been wasting my time all through my student life and all through my, very early adult life in wrong areas. And I really felt this. I was so easily connected to the children. I was able to convince them so easily that the very first school where I joined as a teacher, I used to be one of the favorite teacher of the children because they could talk everything to me, and they used to study also along with me, and at the same time they used to feel very comfortable with me. So I felt like that very first job as a teacher made me realize that this was my word and that it was the education word. So in very first job, my very first job was as a teacher in Springdale Public School. Very soon I was then promoted to a coordinator within a very less span of time, and then I had shifted to another school as an in charge in another school. And then this was the school who was looking for a teacher school was looking for a principal who should be very young, because my management was very young, and who should be energetic and who should be creative as well, right? So I do remember that I was almost maybe 34 years or 35 years when I got selected as a principal here, as a vice principal here, and then within 6 months I was promoted as a principal. And I could really feel and that the energy level of a team is so important to run a school. So we are a very, very energetic, very passionate people, along with my management and my team. We are really very passionate people who keep on experimenting, who keep on researching and innovating in the classes. That has really led to the success of this institution. So very short about me. This was the short thing, not about my story. And I normally tell it to every child, so that every child should understand that how important it is to choose a career for themselves and then go ahead with the studies which can help them to carry on with their careers. So this was about me.
It was wonderful knowing you, ma'am. So we all at times choose something which is not our cup of tea, but still the person who pass on through that phase and then achieve what they were meant for, that is what is the real success is.
Yeah, exactly.
So, ma'am, this COVID has taught us a lot of things. The COVID-19 has bring out the best also from us and taught us many, many lessons. So during this time of uncertainty and staying at home and making adjustments, what are the strengths that you have discovered in yourself?
I think I have discovered technical strengths first of all, because to make your team work on technical lines, it is first of all we need to understand how technology will be able to complement our own methodologies. So what I had discovered in myself was first of all the technical skills, right, which I would have never ever discovered, because normally we principals have a team around us, and we are so much dependent upon the team. But when we were sitting at home, and that was such a frustrating moment that you need to you came to realize that you are so backward in technology, because at that time the team was not around you. I was to explore myself, right? So I explored and explored and explored, and slowly and slowly I became, a bit tech savvy. Still, I would say there is a lot of things to be done. And another skill, which I found in myself was that I still am connected to all the basics of the school. Because when we were sitting at homes and when we were not able to connect to each other so well, all the basics, like for example timetable framing, managing the human resources, and managing the teachers, and then recruiting the teachers if some teachers were left out, how to use those teachers to help out all those sports teachers, computer teachers. They were left out because major teachers, there were no sports happening, right? There was no music happening. But then how to utilize their skills as well, and how to upgrade them. And I felt like that I got connected back to the basics of the school education. Normally we principals, we get so busy in administration things, and we get so busy in moving forward, that we forget to look back. From where did we start? So at that time I really felt that I was good at planning, and I was good at convincing people. These were all the strengths, and by God's grace, my entire team, they had been working so hard. Then not a single person was left out. It brought a name to the school. The name of the school got established once again. People had trust because they felt like that the team was working. So I really discovered that I'm good at connect myself whenever and wherever it is required, whatever area it is required. I think I am very quick to switch over myself to that particular area. And I was amazed to see myself also working like that. So those were the strengths I think I discovered in myself specifically.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. When from the busy life, we just need, when sometimes we get to rewind and reinvent ourselves, then we actually come to know that there is so much more to what we do. We could have been so much better, but since we are so busy in our routine chores that we don't get time for this. Right. Yeah. So, ma'am, going ahead, ma'am, as you said that the school got a new name and it earned a lot during COVID times, I would like to know what is the philosophy of the school and what makes it unique?
In fact, the very first thing which we stressed upon, in our planning was that, teaching methodologies will not be compromised, right? Education has not to be compromised. Whatever comes in the way, education is not to be compromised. This was the first vision which I gave to my team, right? That whatever methodologies and technologies which we are using in our classrooms, we had to upgrade rather than going back. Now, when when the children were sitting at home, parents were there along with the children sitting at home, watching the teachers, how are they teaching, they really regained the faith in the teacher. They actually started appreciating so much that hats off to the teachers, that they are so patient with the children, even online also. And then one more principle which we did not compromise was the individual attention. We have a limited strength of children in our classrooms, and so that there has to be a limited particular attention given to every child. Even in online classes also, that particular attention was given. And then it was mandatory for my teachers not to pick up any link from anywhere, but to use their own creative videos and use their own creativity in the classrooms, right? It was all due grace to all those people who put up the videos and the tutorials on YouTube. But I told my teacher that you will lose your creativity only if you will start using those resources. So you be creative in your resources. So when we started with, it was just the videos, but then within 15 days we shifted to all the online classes, live online classes, with the same limited number of children. And that really required a lot of training to the staff. Each and every person of the staff was trained enough to take a live class himself or herself, right? And that led to gaining too much of trust in Jesus team. And we really received so much of appreciation from the parents, because they were sitting and watching themselves. What are the efforts put in the creative homeworks, the creative projects? There was a lot of things, and then we kept on going and going and going. There were a lot of mental health workshops. There were a lot of mental health workshops for the teachers as well, so that every one of us should be in a good state of health and a good state of education as well.
Right, ma'am. The pandemic has actually made us realize that teachers are the unsung heroes.
Actually, you just imagine, 50 years old teacher or 55 years old teacher had to reinvent herself, but she had to do, because there was no choice, right? And I have really felt that when the life shows you that there is no choice, okay, then you reinvent yourself. Then you gain your strength. Then you realize your power. That what is your power to go ahead. And this is what pandemic has taught educational sector, that there is no choice. There cannot be any choice. We cannot leave our children like this, and we will have to go ahead, right? And that was the technology. Thanks to all technology,
Absolutely, ma'am. So a lot of learning has been done from pandemic now. Now coming up to the current education curriculum, ma'am. What is your opinion about the current education curriculum in our country? And do you think children need to have more on hands-on experiences while learning?
In fact, current educational scenario is changing rapidly. It is changing rapidly. And I would say that all those educational leaders who will not change, they will receive a setback. They will not survive in this country now. Now, this is what I normally tell my teachers, and during my online sessions as well. Okay, now there is no choice. We will all have to change, right? Currently, let us, if we see, there is a lack of so much of training to the people. There is and trainings are happening in a haphazard manner. It has to be institute-wise training rather than individual training, because individual training will not lead to change in the education, right? It has to be institution-wise training, that every institution is being trained. 100% of the staff of institution is being trained in one particular aspect, and then only they will go together in that particular line. As per an NEP, right? I'm all, in good words for a national education policy, thanks to the people who had really thought of on that line, first of all. And it was, we are actually, this should have been done 10 years. In the past 10 years, we are late by 10 years, I would say. And therefore, our children, our students, they have come back 10 years as compared to the entire world. Still, our children, when they go abroad, right, they create a name for themselves, fine. And you just imagine if certain skills are added to those children, you just imagine the way they will create world records. Because if you just see, there are so many examples where it is Indian students who have gone abroad and then continued with their work. So if I talk about hand-on experiences, experiential teaching, fine, everything which we do goes into waste, fine, in case it is not experimented, it is not experienced, right? For example, I can see how thousands of recipes on TV, fine, or on YouTube, until unless I don't practice having those recipes, I don't experience cooking those recipes, and I don't experience the taste of that recipe, fine, that is of no use to me. Same goes with the education. Same goes with the education. You teach them, solar system. You teach them chemical reactions. You teach them neurosystem, digestive system, whatever you will teach them. But until and unless student don't feel that this thing is going to be useful in his life for one thing or the other thing, or until and unless student don't experience themselves, right? It is just like that we are watching a TV serial, or we are watching a recipe on YouTube. Okay, so it is very essential now, as I told you earlier too, that imparting skills is one of the most important principle of Jesus Sacred Heart School, that maybe the child learns 5 chapters out of 10, but what is most important is that all those 5 chapters also should be able to inculcate some skill in the children. So it is mandatory in my all lesson plannings by all my teachers to mention that what skill they are intending to impart it to the child, so that all those activities which are associated with their lesson plans, that should be framed in such a way that child acquires some skill. Maybe that skill is an analytical skill, or some literacy skill, or some language skill, or any kind of skill, so that at least the child should understand and experience that what he is going to do with this in his future life. That is what is required with our children. Our children are lost. They don't know only what they have to do in their lives. They don't know only. And then in case, if they know also what they have to do in their life, they don't know how to follow it. What skill sets are required? Right. I just recently I was having a word with one of the university's director. We then combinedly launched a program, Innovation Hub, which we are starting in our school as well. It was launched by them. They just asked me that, do you want to have it in your school? I said yes, definitely, because we need to imbibe in our children all those entrepreneurship skills. Otherwise, round, we will be short of jobs. Our children will be migrating to other countries, will be contributing towards the GDP of other countries, right? And we will be left out. Right. So it is very important to have experiential teaching, so that hands-on training, hands-on experiences should be a part of the curriculum of education in every school, college, university, everywhere. It should be a part of it.
Yeah, and ma'am, you have very beautifully brought out a very simple strategy that in your lesson plan only bring out what skill a child is learning. So this is, I think, something which every school can adopt, and this can make it, skill learning much more beneficial for the students. So going ahead, ma'am, we were just talking about how parents are appreciating the teachers' efforts and how COVID has strengthened the bond between the parents and teachers. So what can school do, to make this linkage stronger between the parent and school?
I think, we Indian schools, we create such a comfortable atmosphere, right? And we don't teach our parents, we don't train our parents to get involved in the education of the child. Right. We don't train them. We train our principals, we train our teachers, right? We train our all educational leaders, but there is a lack of training for the parents, so that we can train them how to get involved in the education of the child. Because day by day, generation gap is increasing. Day by day, it is increasing. And day by day, children are becoming smarter than their parents. And we have to make our parents also smarter, so that our Indian values, our traditional values should not get deteriorated. Because normally a child starts thinking, even a 5-7 years child or 8-year child who launch their YouTube channels, who create something good out of technology, they start thinking themselves to be more literate as compared to parents. And parents literally don't know what their children are doing. So this gap of the parents and the children are to be reduced. And how can it be reduced? Only if educational institutions come for their help. And teacher and the parent bond is to be strengthened, because teacher keeps on upgrading. herself. If she needs to use technology, she needs to use new things, she needs to understand child psychology, so therefore she keeps on updating herself. But the parents don't keep on updating themselves, and therefore their gap with the children keeps on increasing. So I think there has to be a strong bond between the school and the parent, so that we together can work for the benefit of the children. Normally children otherwise they create more gaps between a teacher and a parent, right? So we need to be dependent upon each other. We need to involve parents more and more, so that this bond gets strengthened, and it ultimately, it is helpful for the child only. They will get upgraded only, right? They will learn something good, how to teach the children, how to now all those modern technologies which are coming in our way, art integration teaching, sports integrated teaching, experiential teaching, competency based teaching. Parents are so unaware of these things that they are not able to contribute. So we need to train our parents, then only the bond between the school and the parent will get strengthened, and then only this strengthened bond will contribute towards the education of the child.
Yeah, so I think if I put it in a simple manner, our children are running on a 5G spectrum and our parents are still on a 2G.
2G.
And school can provide them the bandwidth which is required to the parents, and they can be on the same ground. So
Yeah.
this is how we can strengthen the bond between parent and student, which is very much needed. Going ahead, ma'am, if the system of grading or marks disappear completely, then on what basis would universities take admissions for students and for further education?
In fact, otherwise around, grades or marks, there has to be something, right? To enable other person understand the child, what is the entry level of the child or the exit level of the child. Grades are done. I am not interested in marks, right? But grades are done just to understand what is the entry level and exit level of the child. It is helpful only for the children. It is not, bad for the children. But yes, ultimately, when it is all abolished, let us suppose if it is all abolished, we go back to our Gurukul system, right, when the grades were not given. But at that time, then skills were given. No, skills were given importance, right? So then at that time, what skills a person is having, those skills will be the determiners. How much educated or how much talented the person is. The skill can be academic, the skill can be non-academic, whatever is the skill, right? Then there has to be the parameters regarding the skills which can help others to identify that what is the level of this particular child. Normally we get accredited, even if education is completed, then we keep on getting accredited, right? It's only on the basis of certain skill parameters. No, so those parameters I think can be used to have an estimate about the child or the student.
Right. Very rightly said, ma'am. Talking about Gurukuls and going back in the ancient education system, the child was, or the student was declared best only once he had passed the competition, wherein it was open for everyone. An open challenge, come and compete. And if you compete that student, then you are the best. So yeah, definitely assessing on the basis of skills could be a medium in that scenario. So going ahead, ma'am, you have your list of accomplishments, but we would like to know what are your proudest accomplishments of your career?
I really felt, very good when I was declared, top 100 principals, right? I felt good at that time. And yes, the most accomplished work which I feel in my career is when I see my students, being very active, confident, in public, in normal public outside. And when I see my children sitting on some important positions, and then helping the school back, although illuminized, I really feel proud of myself. These awards, these certifications are sometimes they give you happiness temporarily, right? They don't give you happiness permanently, right? The real happiness comes in when you feel like that you have shaped some life. Right, that is the real happiness. I feel proud of when even a second grade child or a third grade child has confidence to walk in principal's office and talk about his problems, that I have a problem with such and such child or with such and such teacher, or my parents are a problem for me, whatever, right? He shares the problem. I really feel very, very good that I have taught my children to speak for themselves and to seek out the right path where their problems will be solved. That is the real happiness and real accomplishment which I feel like in my day-to-day life.
So this is Kirti ma'am, who believes that if she has made a child personality upgraded in the society, and that is what carries the badge for the school also for her, that is the biggest accomplishment. So ma'am, this brings to me to the very interesting segment of the show, which is called rapid fire round. You have to answer in one word only.
Okay.
So we begin with the first question. Name a school principal you admire the most.
It was my last principal, Mrs. Mohini Albert. Although she is retired now, she was my last principal and my motivator as well.
Okay. Next question. Technology connects us more or isolates us more?
Connects us more if used properly.
Right. Peers are more important in shaping values than parents these days. Do you agree?
Parents are always important. Right. The bond of the parent cannot be replaced by peer bond. Only it is to be, used nicely.
Right. Absolutely. So going ahead, ma'am, what is one thing that you would like to change about the present generation?
The casualness. They are very casual. We were not so casual, but the present generation is very casual about their lives. And I think I would like to change that casualness.
All right. So next question, is homeschooling better than traditional education?
Schooling is never better, right? Always education is better. Maybe it is traditional education, maybe it is modern education. Homeschooling, I feel like, was never a replacement of physical schools.
All right. So now the last question of this segment, should schools give homework?
Schools should give homework, right? Only what matters is what type of homework to be given, because individual study time is very important, which cannot be given in the school time. So individual study time can only be done at home. Only the difference is what home task to be given, right? The home tasks are to be innovative and creative ones, which can supplement the teaching in the school. So in this section, ma'am has very beautifully answered and given us a lot of insights that it's always the parents that is most important. Homework needs to be decided on the basis of what task it is going to be accomplished by. And then, of course, that casualness of the generation has to be changed. And no wonder there is no replacement for traditional education. Homeschooling is never a replacement for that. So going ahead, ma'am, being a principal is a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and there must be really difficult for you to find time. But still, I would like to know, whenever you're not working, what hobbies or sports you are involved into, and how do they help you? I like gymming a lot. I like exercising a lot, right? So I normally, whenever I'm free, if I'm not involved, right? So there are two things which I do. One is exercising or gymming, and another is reading. These are two major hobbies which I continue for myself. All right. So gymming is something which ma'am loves doing, and that keeps her fit and healthy. And of course, reading keeps her brain healthy. Great. So this brings to me to the last question of the segment, ma'am. We were talking a lot about the skill-based learning. So do you think skill development must be added to school curriculum? And how has the pandemic laid greater emphasis on honing the skills above the traditional education these days? Many are becoming jobless due to this pandemic. Skills are, of course, it should be mandatory to be a part of the curriculum, because all the skill-based teaching will help our country to solve many problems, right? It will solve the problem of unemployment, first of all, and then secondly, it will solve the problem of poverty as well. Okay, it will also solve the problem of, diverting our young generation towards some meaningful task. So therefore, skill education is very much important. We will be able to solve many problems if skill education becomes an integral part of our curriculum. If I take you back to, Rabindranath Tagore, he transformed his village only on the basis of skill education. It was his model of education that we are till today following that model, right? So he transformed his entire village and made his own village a self-sufficient one. That model of skill education can be adopted by the entire country, and we can make our entire country a self-sufficient one. As Modi ji says, make in India, right? Self-reliant Bharat, right?
So and the skill India.
It is skilled, right? It has to be skills. There is no replacement for it, right? Now, your next part of the question, that traditional education, okay, we will have to find out a merger of both the things. Fine. Our traditional education systems were not that bad. They were also good, right? We have got so many good scientists like C.V. Raman, right? We have got so many good, Abdul Kalam ji, right? They all have passed through traditional education only, right? So there were a lot many good things in our traditional education. We are to just find out a very good merger of traditional and modern education, which can create talented people in our country, because we don't need only skilled people, we need talented people, and those talented people will come up when we will mix our traditional values with all the skills that person has. Then only we will have traditional talented workforce in our country, which will solve many other problems of our country. This is how I believe in skill education.
Right, ma'am. There are many people who just blame education. Traditional education is this is that, but definitely, very rightly said by you, it was not that bad. Where we went wrong was we forget to bring out the change that was needed. We missed out that.
Yeah.
Just continued with the system that was in place, and we never thought, unless the COVID came in, now we are reinventing it. So a very, very powerful message by ma'am here. Just blend the two things, the traditional and the modern and the skills, and see where our country reaches with the vision of Modi ji, make in India. Great.
Yeah, sure.
So, simply a wonderful session, ma'am, with a lot of insights. So thank you so much for your time. It was really wonderful to have you here, ma'am.
Thank you, Seema. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate the platform, which helps the principals to speak so fearlessly and to speak from their own heart, right? So I really appreciate such platforms. Thank you so much. Thank you for creating this platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am.